Cardiff City app. For technical support, email cardifftvsupport@streamamg.com.
For more behind-the-scenes content, download the Cardiff City Google extension for your home browser.
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
Wilson, a little bit of space for Harry Wilson, strikes a goal! Oh, what a goal! Morrison, goal!
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Cardiff City TV. And seeing as it's our first game at home here since Boxing Day, a very happy new year to you all, even though we all find ourselves continually in these strange times. I take it you're all taking care of yourself. I hope you are indeed. The Bluebirds this afternoon hosting top of the table Norwich here at Cardiff City Stadium. Just 3 fixtures removed actually from a 2-0 defeat at Carrow Road back in December. Now, some better news for Cardiff City this afternoon. I can officially reveal that Max Watters has signed from Crawley Town. 16 goals in just 19 games so far this season for the former Doncaster man. He's now officially a Bluebird, and Cardiff City TV have already just caught up with him.
Max, welcome to Cardiff City. It's fair to say there were a number of clubs interested in your signature, one or two, not too far from Cardiff in fact. Why did you pick Cardiff City and how much are you looking forward to it?
When I first found out about Cardiff, it was I was immediately attracted to him with the manager and the size of the club, and Wales is a lovely place to live, so yeah, it come down to that really.
We've seen a little bit about you. Obviously there's been rumours through the last few days that you may be coming here. Tell us about your game, what you like to give to the side, how you play.
I'd say I'm a lively striker. I like to make runs in behind. I like to link up well with whoever else I'm playing with. Make it easy for the centre midfielders to put the ball in behind and give them options. And really, as a striker, you've got to score goals, so that's what I'm here to do.
It's too tight to play against Norwich today, of course. I'm sure you'd have loved to get that shirt on straight away. But QPR coming up on Wednesday, maybe the first chance for you to play on this pitch here. You must be buzzing, looking forward for that. Yeah,
big game at home against QPR, huge team. It's a shame the fans can't be here, so I can play in front of them. But hopefully I'm involved and hopefully we'll get the win.
Well, we're delighted to have you here, Max, and welcome to Cardiff City. Look forward to seeing you out there.
Thank you very much.
Max Watters there, catching up with Cardiff City TV just after signing on the dotted line for the Bluebirds, the first of what we hope will be a number of signings in this January window. I'm Ashley James, alongside me as ever for Home Games, John Donovan. John, Max Watters officially a Cardiff player. He's the type of young, exciting signing that we often look enviously at other Championship clubs making, but Cardiff never seem to make that jump.
I couldn't agree more, Ash. You know, it brings the average age of the squad down, and that's been a topic of conversation in recent weeks. This squad done so much for Cardiff City, of course, lest we forget, but been together a while, and it is an ageing squad. And for me personally, he's a player that brings speed, and I think speed kills. And he's going to be level. He's done very well this season, but when you've got speed in any league, it's an asset, and I do think Cardiff City have been a bit static on occasions this year. Kiefer Moore's great, and he is athletic, but out-and-out speed is probably not his forte. You know, out wide we have very clever players, but not necessarily out-and-out speed. So I know it sounds basic, but I do think in football there's still a place for someone who can stretch a team, stretch a game, and frighten defenders by playing on their shoulder and playing with speed, and Max Watters, I think, is that player.
Obviously not involved this afternoon because he literally just signed on the dotted line, so that paperwork's not gone in time. The team news, though, for Cardiff and City make 2 changes this afternoon from the side that lost in that third round FA Cup action last weekend at Nottingham Forest. Alex Smithies returns in goals with Dylan Phillips dropping to the bench, and Junior Hoylett starts on the left of the attacking line in place of Josh Murphy, who similarly is named amongst just 8 very youthful substitutes this afternoon. Tom Sang, Kieran Evans, Keenan Patton, all named, but so crucially is Kiefer Moore as he continues his recovery from a hamstring injury and is fit enough for a place on the bench. John, we'll look back at last weekend, which you graciously covered for Cardiff City TV up at City Ground and gave a lot of us a weekend off, and also the meeting just 3 games ago between these 2 teams. I mean, it goes without saying Cardiff are going to need to be a hell of a lot better than they were at Carrow Road to take anything from this afternoon, but despite an improved performance last weekend, they're going to need to have more cutting edge to them as well.
They are. Last weekend was a frustrating one. Not for my wife, she threw me out the house, that's why you got the weekend off. But Cardiff City in the middle third, and I spoke to you after the game, I thought played some decent football. But the cutting edge wasn't necessarily there, wasn't there at all against quite a poor Nottingham Forest side. Speaking to some of the Forest pundits after the game, including ex-England international Steve Hodge, he was impressed by Cardiff. He thought Cardiff were one of the better teams to travel to the City Ground. But we all know that Cardiff can be frustrating in that sense. They can play some decent football at times, but you know that clinical cutting edge in the final third isn't necessarily there. What I did like about Nottingham Forest last weekend, and again, you and I spoke about this before the game when we saw the team named, is it another game where Joe Rawls is playing number 10, as he did at Carrow Road against Norwich when it didn't work. He didn't play number 10. It was a fluid midfield 3 of Pax, Vokes and Rawls, each taking it in turns to get forward and support Glatzel, and I thought it worked a hell of a lot better. So I assume we will see the same today.
Well, you've stolen one of my questions there. It did look like not a flat 3 at the City Ground, but Pack was holding and the other 2 were providing legs either side. It looked more dynamic. All right, there was a lack of cutting edge, but what that does allow, isn't it, is the 2 wingers to get closer to Glatzel and not rely on somebody filling that number 10 hole that really, without Tomlin in the side, nobody's capable of doing.
Yeah, and it is a bit lopsided, and for the criticism he sometimes received, doing a sterling job at right back. I want to give a bit of praise to Leandro Bacuna, because playing that shape, Murphy, and it's Hoylett today, but Murphy was holding the width on the left-hand side. Wilson was coming inside, so Bacuna had to provide the width on the right-hand side, which he did well. Yes, the first goal was unfortunate and should never have happened, but so look for Cardiff City to be a little lopsided today with, you know, Hoylett's different to Murphy. Hoylett will come inside, but Bacuna particularly will look to provide width on the right-hand side to allow Harry Wilson to come further infield and support Robert Glatzel.
Well, we'll come back and talk a little bit more about the Cardiff side in just a couple of minutes. But first, we're going to hear from Cardiff manager Neil Harris. He spoke to the press, as ever, ahead of this game. And obviously disappointed to be out of the FA Cup, but very eager to get back to Championship action. This is what he had to say.
Best team in the league. Yeah, best team in the league, I think it's fair to say, because they're at the top of the league and halfway stage. Players that affected the Premier League last year, you know, in their ranks still, without really losing anybody from the summer, you know, made them pre-season favourites to go back up, and they've stuck to the tag so far. Got ability to hurt you one end of the pitch. I think when we played there 4 weeks ago now, large parts of the game was absolutely fine for us, but we got undone by 2 super finishes where were very, very good finishes from 25 yards, but we shot ourselves in the foot with both goals defensively in the middle of the park. So we've got to be better than we were at Norwich. Large part of that was when we turned the ball over too easily. You know, people don't always see that. They see we let a couple of goals in from distance, good goals. Yeah, but we caused ourselves problems that day by not retaining the ball very well. And that's certainly one area we've got to be better against them at home. It's not a must-win game. You know, we're not in anywhere near stretching imagination in that position, a must-win game to get back thinking about the top 6. We've come away from being very close to it 4 weeks ago to where we are now, and to get back there again, we have to put a consistent run of results together. To do that, we're going to need more bodies in the squad, whether that's fit players or new signings, to get us through periods of, I think, 11 games in the next 6 weeks or something as well. So, you know, that's vitally important. Keep stressing that. But then we've still got a group of players, 15 or 16 of them, that are good enough to compete right at the top of this division, in my opinion. And we, even if players are playing out of position, we need to make sure we keep getting as much out of them as we can. And what we do know is we're a side that's capable of putting a run together. We know we're a side capable of scaring the life out of teams once we get going. We showed that last season. We've shown it this season as well. But we have to get back to that quickly. So this weekend is going to be tough. It's a game we can win. Expect us to be a lot better than we were at Norwich last time we played. And then we've got a run of games where we want to build performances and results. Priority is to get a right back, is to bring a right back in. That hasn't changed for a period of time. Even if George is going to be fit at the weekend, that's not going to change. Centre back, yes, Sean is very, very close. Aidan Flint, I said, is full training, very, very close, but been out for a period. Obviously losing Sol gives us three senior centre halves. If possible, I'd like to add to that if I can. But I have to look at priority positions when balancing the books, and right back is a priority, and probably something at the top end of the pitch that we might see in the next 48 hours.
Cardiff manager Neil Harris there talking to the assembled press on Zoom this week. And one man who did have praise reserved for him, not least from yourself, but also the manager last week for his performance, was Joe Bennett, filling in on the left-hand side of the two centre-halves. Not a position he's played in his career before, but he acquitted himself incredibly well, and he's going to line up there again this afternoon.
He did acquit himself well. Forest didn't really trouble him in terms of an aerial bombardment or a physical encounter, and I think he can probably play there again today, because against a very talented Norwich team, again, it's not going to be a physical matchup, and I think Joe Bennett's a clever footballer and can get himself in the right place positionally. But more than anything, what I liked about him at centre-half, and yes, it is a sticking plaster solution, I'm not suggesting Joe Bennett is going to be a centre-half of the future, but he's a good footballer. Sean Morrison and Curtis Nelson have been a fantastic pairing for Cardiff City and will continue to be a great pairing when called upon. But it was noticeable having a centre-half who maybe felt a bit more comfortable with the ball at his feet, moving that transition with a little bit more pace into the middle of the park. And I felt Cardiff were better because of that, and it allowed the midfields to have quicker ball on the turn, and Cardiff could move forward quicker. So, yeah, Joe Bennett was good last week. It is a little bit of a square peg in a round hole, but I think he'll acquit himself well today. Again, not saying he's going to be the long-term centre-half for Cardiff City, but I did like the dynamic of having a centre-half who perhaps was a little bit more comfortable with the ball at his feet and playing that first pass.
One player that we hope, and maybe a long-term solution in the defensive line, was Joel Bagan, and he acquitted himself very well again. Very solid display at left-back, and you just feel that every minute of first-team football you can get into his legs, he and the club are going to be better for it, don't you?
You do. You know, he could go out on loan again, but right now he's an important part of this first-team squad. He's signed his new contract. What I've liked recently, Ash, in under-23 football, when I've seen him last week as well, he seems now to quite enjoy the physical aspect of the game. He's going into tackles. He's enjoying confrontations with players, you know, getting shoulders in and arms across and what have you. And for a youngster learning his trade, particularly a defender, you know, in the modern game, fullbacks are all about going forward and going towards the opponent's goal. I think his game's developing defensively. I think he's strong in the tackle. I thought he was very good last weekend, particularly in his own half. And he's also a talented footballer going forward. He can link up the play. So I think everyone at this club has got high hopes for Joel Bagan. And why continually look a season down the line? Why not now? And the left-back position is his at the moment. So he can claim that shirt and he can go forward with it.
Well, let's look at the Norwich team news very quickly then. The Canaries shorn of 9 first-team players this afternoon with positive COVID tests in the camp. Yet that results in just 2 first-teamers actually missing. So Timo Pukki, no place for him, notably up front this afternoon. He's forced to sit out. Jordan Hugill, who scored in the FA Cup last weekend, starts up front instead. And the other change is in goal, where Tim Krul misses out. So young Welshman Daniel Barden comes in to deputise. He's featured a little bit in recent weeks, actually, in the first team also. So, John, nothing new, really. I mean, they've been dealing with huge injury problems all season long, as many as 14 players out at one point. So, it's just been hugely impressive that they've been as good as they've been, isn't it?
Consistency has been great. There's always that cliched Premiership relegation hangover. It hasn't been there for them. They've regrouped and they've gone again. With some very, very talented players. I like the model at Norwich. They could have panicked. They could have got rid of their manager after relegation. They didn't, because they like what he brings to the club, and they trusted in him to take the project forward again. So there might be some tired legs in there. If there is a day for Cardiff City to beat Norwich, maybe it's the day with the injuries and COVID-related absences. But you've still got Buendia and you've still got Cantwell, and you and I talked about them back on December the 19th. I don't change my opinion today. I think they're two of the most talented players in the division. I know Cantwell had a relatively slow start to the season, but ever since you and I saw him in that League Cup match a couple of years ago when he wasn't a first-team regular, in a platonic sense, I fell in love with him. I think he's a very, very talented footballer. He can do a bit of everything. We saw on Cardiff City's journey to Carrow Road, he can score goals, he can link play, he can go wide, he can come inside, and Buendia is a little magician. So when you've got those two in your team, even if you're beset with injuries, you've still got a lot of quality.
Yeah, and back to Cardiff very briefly then. You heard from Neil Harris in the week. He seemed to set a target for and laid on the gauntlet a little to his Cardiff teams. He said 72 points is the target they need to get to be in and around those playoff places. What do you make of that?
It was interesting. It's the first time he was talking in a general sense, but he was talking about, I think, 18 of the last 20 seasons, 72 points should get you into the playoffs. So that immediately becomes the target for Cardiff City if the playoffs is still the target. And making the signing of Max Watters today, I assume the playoffs are still the target. That's going to need a lot of doing. We're talking about another 43 points, I think. I worked out my junior school maths today, about 1.7, 2 points a game. Today's a little bit of a free hit. I think, Ash, the crux of Cardiff City's season will come in the 8 games that follow this. Yes, the 7-side derby is in there, but there's winnable games in there. QPR, Barnsley, Rotherham. Yeah, okay, we've seen at Coventry and Wickham, Cardiff don't always win the winnable games, but I think Cardiff City's season is going to be defined by the 8 games that take place after today.
Thanks, John. Well, commentary this afternoon comes from Mark Denham and former Cardiff City and Norwich City player, in fact, Roger Gibbins. So do remember, if you are watching this on YouTube, to switch over now and watch that on the Cardiff City app or the Cardiff City website instead. First, though, we're going to hear from Neil Harris again, and you might have seen behind us the Cardiff City side warming up this afternoon with Bamba 22 on the back of their shirts. That after the sad diagnosis of Sol Bamba in the week, battling non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. We obviously extend our well wishes to Sol and his lovely family. He's a wonderful man. He's one of the nicest people you could ever hope to meet in football, and we are obviously, it goes without saying, all behind him. And this is what Neil Harris had to say about what a dressing room leader Sol Bamba is.
My toughest in football, certainly as a manager, purely because of just the mental side of things, physical aspect of it, making sure players are okay, making sure Sol's okay. But he's a great guy, and obviously spoke honestly yesterday about just his personality and his presence and his humility of being an unbelievable character. So off the pitch, tough. Obviously, everybody hard Monday when it was announced, and then you got the ripples of that away from the training ground as well. Everyone's got friends that are fans and family members that care as well. So tough week. But Sol's been great, and it's enabled us to certainly focus on Norwich today, and we will do in the coming hours leading up to Norwich on Saturday. Shock, questions that obviously not been aimed at Sol because of privacy. Obviously, Sol himself, his family, released a statement on Monday. So, some questions the players, needed to know just about Sol. So, a lot of questions for me to take from the group on that individually and collectively. But they responded in the manner that I'd expect from the group of lads we got, caring. Some upset scenes on Monday when they found out. A few boys hit quite hard by it. But then when they've seen Sol or they spoke to him, then they know that he's dealing with it and he's fighting it, and he wants our support, and he wants people to be strong, and he wants people to take care of business on the pitch, that cheer him up off the pitch. He wants to be in the change room. He wants to be on the pitch, and he can't. and he wants to see the players that are there for him, you know, doing what he would love to do. So players have responded brilliantly, and you know, will continue to do so.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Stayed onside, header saved by Gunn, pushed away to the far side. Zahor still in position and scores from out of nothing. Cardiff City lead. Kenneth Zahor off the bench onto the score sheet, and with 4 minutes left on the clock, Cardiff take the lead.
How important could that be, Ash? Kenneth Zahor reacts superbly, like you said, stayed onside.
To Mendes Lang, but it breaks clear off a defender. To Manga, who plays it back to Tomlin. Infield to Rawls, who plays it away towards the near side. Bennett getting it forward to Hoylett. Infield to Tomlin. Hoylett has it. Chance here for the shot coming in. Oh, what a goal from Hoylett! 2-1.
Simple, precise build-up from Cardiff City. Spreading some passes together, working the overlap on this near side. Hoylett and Tomlin between them. Looking for Patterson in the air. Hanley will win it. Bryson though wins the second ball. Support comes back off his mark at the feet. Hoylett for Gibbins! What a goal! It drops at the feet of Hoylett from a flick on from Zahor. He steps into it and lashes it home with the outside of his right foot. Unstoppable from Hoylett. Cardiff are home and host.
What a result this is going to be, Ash. And it's the big boys who have delivered. Junior Hoylett has been fantastic all season. He went close 5 minutes ago and he's delivered with an absolute thunderbolt. Brilliant goal. That's going to be up there with one of his best of the season.
To purchase a pass for live matchday coverage on Cardiff City TV, visit the official Cardiff City FC website. Once logged into your Bluebirds club account, navigate to Club TV and select Buy Packages. Select the pass you wish to purchase and click Buy Now. Next, fill in your payment details and click Submit Payment. Once your purchase has been successful, you will see this message. You can also check your purchase by clicking the Manage Your Subscriptions button. You now have instant access to live matchday coverage. Visit Club TV and select Live.
Moore's free in the box, 1-0.
Live streams begin 1 hour before kickoff, and recommended desktop browsers are Mozilla Firefox and Google Chrome. You can also watch or listen on the go via the official Cardiff City app. For technical support, email cardifftvsupport@streamamg.com.
For more behind the scenes content, download the Cardiff City Google extension for your home browser.
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
A little bit of space for Harry Wilson. Strikes a goal! What a goal! Morrison, goal!
Good afternoon and welcome to Matchday Live, courtesy of Cardiff City TV. My name is Mark Denham. I'm delighted to say we're joined by former Cardiff City and Norwich player Roger Gibbins this afternoon for this one. Thank you for joining us today and being part of the New Year action. Cardiff City's first home fixture of 2021 following last weekend's FA Cup defeat at Nottingham Forest, of course, and the away fixture at Rotherham, which was postponed due to bad weather on January the 2nd. So it's a start of a new year and a new start in many ways for Cardiff City as they look to get back on track and head back in towards those top 6 places where they aim to be, of course. Good news as far as the Bluebirds squad today is concerned. Kiefer Moore fit enough to be amongst the substitutes this afternoon, and a little bit of news off the field as well. You may have seen, if you're following our social channels, Max Waters, the Crawley Town striker, you can see your pictures here, has become a Bluebird, signed today, a 3-year deal for an undisclosed fee from Crawley Town, and will link up with his new teammates in the coming days and surely will feature against Queen's Park Rangers on Wednesday evening. So that's to come, but as for now, 2 changes for Neil Harris's side from the side that lost in the FA Cup to Nottingham Forest last weekend. One of those in goal, Alex Smithies back between the sticks with Dylan Phillips dropping back to the substitutes bench, and Josh Murphy also amongst the substitutes today, with Junior Hoylett returning to the starting 11 against a Norwich City side who have struggled, we understand, with the pandemic a little. They without the likes of Pookie this afternoon, and also Tim Krul, the goalkeeper, but still plenty of talent in this side that takes to the field in front of us. Rog, good afternoon today. This is a massive test, isn't it, for Cardiff?
Yes, it is, Mark. Yeah, good afternoon to you all. And they're top of the table, and they're there for good reason. They're probably the best team in the league. They've got a good squad, as you mentioned. They've got a couple missing today, but they're still very strong. They play good football. I've noticed lately that they've not been conceding so many goals as well, which has kind of been a bit of a problem for them, in the past. But it's going to be a real big test for Cardiff, who themselves need a win, obviously.
Yeah, some key players out there was Emiliano Buendia, of course, who did much of the damage for Norwich 4 or 5 weeks ago at Carrow Road in that 2-0 win for the Canaries. Todd Cantwell as well. Another who plays today and can no doubt cause damage. Plenty of Premier League talent still in this Norwich squad. They've been fortunate in many ways, Rog, because of the pandemic and because of the short transfer window. They've managed to retain so much of this talent.
They have, yeah, and that's if you're a team that have managed to get up, to the Premier League, but don't last there a season or two, and that's. To get back up again is paramount, Mark. You've got to keep the majority of the squad, because you know that they can do it, and with 1 or 2 changes, and they've lost 1 or 2, and to be fair to Norwich, over the last few years, they've sold some good players as well along the way, and they've still managed success over the last 2 or 3 seasons in getting up, but unfortunately they dropped down again. But looking strong to get back. From Cardiff's point of view, you look from my point of view, you look at the squad and you think it's strong, and they're definitely 15th in the table. They're underachieving. There's no doubt about that at the moment with the squad that they've got, and they'll be keen, like you say, to start the new year in the league here now. With a really good performance and a win. To get them, back up the mid-table and within distance. It's doable. There's plenty of games to go yet, but they need to put their stamp on kind of what they're going to do over the next few weeks and months now. In terms of the second half of the season, because inconsistency and just lacking in certain areas of their game in terms of, the last time I've done a game here at Luton 4-0, it was a terrific game. They played very well for 90 minutes and thoroughly deserved to win 4-0. They can do it.